You wake up in the morning, sit on the edge of your bed, and gently rub the back of your stiff neck. You probably blame your old mattress or think you just slept on a bad pillow. But that constant aching stiffness is actually the very first physical symptom of a terrifying biological process. We call it the hidden collapse. It is the slow, silent structural surrender of your human spine to gravity. And there is one specific year in your senior life where this forward curvature permanently locks your bones into a dangerous posture. I am going to reveal exactly when that terrifying locking phase happens, and the simple 3-minute daily habit you can use to completely reverse it at the very end of this video. But first, we need to understand the relentless physics of your own head. The human head is surprisingly heavy. It weighs roughly 10 to 12 pounds, which is about the exact same weight as a standard bowling ball. When your spine is perfectly straight and your posture is tall, your skeletal structure effortlessly balances this heavy ball right on top of your neck. The weight goes straight down into your heels. But here is the terrifying mathematical truth about your posture. For every single inch your head moves forward out of its natural alignment, the biological weight on your cervical spine essentially doubles. Just 2 inches of forward head posture forces your upper back to carry over 30 pounds of continuous, crushing pressure. Gravity never sleeps, and it is constantly pulling your heavy head toward the floor. For decades, the muscles in your upper back have fought a daily war against this invisible force. But as you enter your senior years, those muscles begin to fatigue and shrink, and the hidden collapse begins. Let us walk through the exact chronological timeline of your spine, year by year. The journey begins at age 65. We call this first stage the forward pull. At 65, the collapse is still relatively silent. You might not notice it when you look directly in the bathroom mirror, but your shoulders are beginning to internally rotate and gently round forward. You feel this stage the most when you try to perform simple twisting movements in your daily life. When you sit in the driver's seat of your car and reach back with one arm to grab your seatbelt, you suddenly feel a sharp pinch or a deep, burning stiffness right between your shoulder blades. Your rotational range of motion is physically shrinking. This happens because the muscles in your chest are chronically tightening and actively pulling your shoulders inward, while the muscles in your upper back, specifically your rhomboids, are becoming overstretched, exhausted, and incredibly weak. They simply do not have the raw biological strength to hold that heavy bowling ball upright anymore. At 65, your chest is literally caving in on itself. You might notice that your breathing becomes slightly shallower when you sit in a soft chair because your rib cage can no longer fully expand against the forward slump of your shoulders. But here is the most important scientific fact about the forward pull. At this stage, the collapse is still 100% muscular. Your bones have not permanently changed their shape yet. The cartilage between your vertebrae is still relatively thick. This means this entire forward curve is completely reversible if you intervene immediately with the right physical tension. But if you ignore that deep ache in your neck and continue looking down at your phone and sitting in deep sofas, the forward pull turns into something far more structural and far more dangerous. 5 years pass, and you reach age 75. This is stage 2. We call this the structural shift. At 75 years old, the hidden collapse is no longer just a muscular problem. It has become a biological reality of your bones. Because you ignored the forward pull of your 60s, your body has employed a desperate survival mechanism called bone remodeling. Your brain recognizes that your muscles are too weak to hold up the heavy bowling ball of your head, so it begins to reinforce your skeleton. At the base of your neck, right at the 7th cervical vertebra, a noticeable protrusion begins to form. This is the beginning of what society cruelly calls the Dowager's hump. Your body is literally building a calcium bridge in a frantic attempt to create a structural kickstand for your falling head. You feel this stage every time you try to look at the top shelf of a grocery store or look up at a beautiful bird in a tree. You realize that you can no longer simply tilt your head back. You have to move your entire torso as one rigid unit just to see what is above you. This loss of mobility is terrifying because it directly affects your brain. As your neck curves forward, it creates a mechanical kink in the vertebral arteries that carry oxygen-rich blood to your cerebellum. This is why you experience sudden waves of dizziness or lightheadedness when you change positions too quickly. You might think you have a problem with your blood pressure, but the truth is that your curved spine is physically choking off the fuel line to your brain. At 75, your internal organs are also starting to suffer from the structural collapse because your upper back is permanently rounded. Your rib cage is forced downward into your abdomen. This leaves less room for your lungs to fully inflate. You find yourself getting winded just from having a conversation while walking. Your digestion slows down because your stomach is being physically compressed by your own skeletal weight. But the most dangerous part of the structural shift is the change in your center of gravity, because your heavy head is now leaning inches in front of your toes. Your brain feels like you are constantly on the verge of falling forward. To compensate for this, your lower back has to arch painfully to pull your weight back, creating a secondary collapse in your lumbar spine. You are now trapped in a biological zigzag of pain, and your risk of a catastrophic fall has officially doubled. 10 years later, we reach age 85. This is the final stage. We call this the locked collapse. At 85 years old, the hidden collapse has reached its ultimate conclusion. Your spine has begun to calcify in its forward position. The soft, hydrated discs that used to act as cushions between your vertebrae have flattened and hardened like old dry rubber. You have likely lost 2 or even 3 inches of your total height. You look down at your hands and you realize that your world has shrunk to the size of the floor directly beneath your feet. Because your neck is so severely curved, your natural gaze is now permanently fixed on the ground 3 feet in front of you. To see the face of your own child or grandchild, you have to strain every muscle in your body just to lift your chin for a few seconds before the fatigue forces you back down. At 85, the psychological weight of the locked collapse is just as heavy as the physical weight. You feel a profound loss of dignity because your posture transmits a message of extreme fragility and defeat to the world. You stop going to social gatherings because it is too exhausting to hold your head up to talk to people. You feel like a spectator in your own life, trapped inside a body that has folded in on itself. Your breathing is now shallow and rapid, which keeps your nervous system in a constant state of high stress and anxiety. Your skeleton has become your own personal cage. This is the dark, eventual destination of the hidden collapse if left unmanaged. But as I promised at the beginning of this video, it absolutely does not have to be your reality. The human body is not a static machine. It is a dynamic, living organism that responds to physical tension until the very last breath you take. I promise to reveal the exact moment your spine locks and the 3-minute habit that can reverse this entire process. The locking phase happens when your muscles stop being elastic and start becoming fibrotic, which typically accelerates at age 72. But here is the biological miracle of neuroplasticity. Your spine is not actually broken. It is simply following the commands of your shortened and weak muscles. You can actually rewire the software in your brain to pull your skeleton back into alignment. I want you to try this right now. Stand up and find a flat wall in your home. Lean your back against it. You will likely feel that your head is several inches away from the wall. This is your visual proof of the hidden collapse. Now, perform the 3-minute habit we call the wall anchor. Keep your heels, your glutes, and your shoulder blades pressed firmly against the flat surface. Now, tuck your chin straight back as if you're trying to make a double chin until the back of your head touches the wall. Do not tilt your head back. Pull it straight back. The moment you do this, you will feel an intense, burning tension in the muscles of your deep neck and your upper back. This is not pain. This is the sound of your dormant muscles waking up after years of neglect. When you hold this position for just 30 seconds at a time, you're sending a massive electrical signal to your central nervous system. You are commanding your brain to synthesize new proteins and strengthen the structural fibers of your rhomboids and your trapezius. You are physically stretching the tight tissues in your chest that have been pulling you into the grave. By doing this simple habit for 3 minutes every single morning, you are resetting your biological center of gravity. You are opening up your rib cage to allow your lungs to breathe deep again. You are literally unkinking the arteries to your brain, restoring your energy and your focus. In a matter of weeks, you can actually reverse the forward pull and lift your chin back to the horizon. You can reclaim your height, your dignity, and your independence. I want to hear from you right now. As you stood against the wall, how many inches was your head from the flat surface? Be honest with yourself and share your number in the comments below. Are you in the early stages of the forward pull? Or are you feeling the structural shift of the Dowager's hump? Your story is vital because it lets others in our community know that it is never, ever too late to stand tall again. If you are ready to stop the collapse and rebuild your posture, hit the subscribe button right now to join our mission. And please hit the like button so the algorithm shares this vital warning with other seniors who are currently losing their war against gravity. We are here to protect your spine and your future with the absolute truth. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.